Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your Manchester United versus Wolves Premier League preview with a twist. Get in the comments with your 11 because I tell you what, if somebody gets the right 11, I want to see hearts all over it on Sunday afternoon because I don't think this is possible to pick. Could we see youngsters in the team? We're talking about people like Kukonki, Morehouse, maybe Obi. Certainly, I think Amas. But do you bring some experienced players in? Is that too much of a risk? For example, if you put Yoro in the team and he gets injured, people would go, why did we do that? We've got to wrap them up in cotton wool. It was a very demanding game on Thursday. And again, it's about that mentality that, yeah, Sunday afternoon, you might have Keno, you might have Gary Neville, you might have Scholesy moaning about the system and moaning about the results. But I think the fans are on board. I think the fans were on board after Newcastle. I think the intelligent ones anyway. And, whoever was screaming Amorim out after the Newcastle game, I mean, get out yourself. It's ridiculous. The point is, we're focused on the Europa League. Amorim even said it himself. We're going into this game. We've got to look after the players that matter, and we've got to try and give some youngsters a bit of a chance. But looking at the game itself, I've got to highlight the jeopardy. We are currently 14th in the league with 38 points. Wolves have lost they haven't lost. Wolves have won their last 4 Premier League games in a row and drew the game before that. So unbeaten in 5, but absolutely incredible that they've won 4 Premier League games in a row. That's not easy to do. I tell you what, if that guy with the hair was a Wolves fan, Sunday afternoon, he's getting a haircut. 5 wins in a row. So they've got every chance of coming to us and beating us. They've had a whole week off. They're doing well. You know, they're sort of in that Crystal Palace vibe of last season where new manager, it's working and, you know, everyone's sort of switched off around the league and they're switched on. So there's a very good chance they'll win. I mean, I think it'll be a draw. I don't see us winning this game. We could lose it. I don't give a shit. Really? I really don't. You know, I'll lose every Premier League game we've got left if we win the Europa League. That's my mindset. Let me know if it's yours. But obviously, I want to show you the Premier League before I go with my predicted lineup because if we're not careful, we can finish 17th. And I think 17th, there's something weird going on with United. Like, we're in this amazing bubble of elation and ecstasy and happiness because of what happened on Thursday night. But if you do finish 17th and you get knocked out by Athletic Club, that evaporates very quickly and there's huge frustration, anger and oblivion. So it's a weird scenario with United. We have had experience of this. It happened with the FA Cup last year, but I remember last year and people were like, oh, we're not going to win against City and we're 8th in the league, Ten Hag out. That was happening. Obviously, you're not going to get an Amorim out movement and that would be stupid, as I say. But the season is potentially horrific. Really horrific. And there will have to be a very, very, very deep analysis of where it's gone wrong this season at some point, because last year it was injury. This year, is it as simple as terrible owners, sacking Ten Hag, bringing a manager in with a bit different system and not backing him? Maybe it is that simple. Maybe it's player-led. I don't know. We will obviously talk about that. Hopefully we won't talk about it because we'll win the Europa League and we'll sweep it under the carpet, and I'm happy to do that. But as I say, we are 3 points off 17th. And I don't count Ipswich and Leicester and Southampton. They're just championship clubs on a stadium tour. Up, down, see you later, bring another 3 in. And that's what's going to happen next season. When you finish 17th, you're basically the worst team in the Premier League. Because those teams at the bottom, they're not really Premier League teams. They can't stay. They get invited in and they don't stay. So the 17th position is really the worst team in the Premier League. And let's not forget, our worst ever Premier League point total, I think, is 58. We've currently got 38. And we've only got, what? How many games have we got left? 6. 18 points. We can't even get there. So we're probably not even going to hit 50 points. It's a horrific Premier League season. So I understand why some people would say it's really important that we get a result on Sunday. But is it? At what detriment? Let me know, because this is how I've lined up with Manchester United on Sunday. And it's very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult indeed. As I say, Wolves are coming in great form. They'll be very fresh and they'll be up for it. I think Amorim would be making a huge mistake if he said Harry Maguire, Casemiro, Garnacho, Yoro, Dorgu, get your boots on, you're playing. I think it's a huge mistake. They are in the red zone. I'm not even a fitness expert, but they're in the red zone on that. We've all played FIFA. We've all played Football Manager. You've played Thursday night, extra time. You've got a game on Sunday afternoon. They're down to, they're in the red zone. They're absolutely nailed on injury risk if you play them in a game where the other team are going to be very intense. So they just can't play. Harry Maguire should be sat there with his feet up until the Bournemouth game a week on Sunday. Same for Casemiro, same for Yoro. We can't afford injuries to these players. We just can't afford it. So they're not in for me at all. The big area that's a concern is the three. I mean, look, you could put Binder in goal. I think I would put Binder in goal. He doesn't have to put Binder in goal, but I think I would. He might go with Onana, but I probably would play Binder. The fullbacks are easy. Delot's never not able to play, and we haven't really got anybody who can play there. So I would play Delot. Amas is obviously a good idea. He played against Newcastle. He played a little bit on Thursday, so Amas can do that. Luke Shaw needs to play somewhere, but I don't know whether he can play from the start because he looked miles off on Thursday. And people will be saying, where's Luke Shaw? Where's Luke Shaw? It's a good point, but I don't know. I mean, I've put Heaven there. I don't think he's ready. Lindelof and Mazraoui are in the team because Lindelof and Mazraoui are obviously left at half-time, so fitness levels should be good. But the reason they left, we don't know what that is. Some people are talking about all sorts of stuff. I don't know what the situation is with... I mean, it could be anything. So I've put them in the team because they're fresh, but if they're not available, and Luke Shaw's not available, and Heaven's not available, you've got to fill 3 centre-back roles, and I don't want to see Harry Maguire and Yoro playing because it's too big a risk for injury. So, interesting there. Mainu and Agate picked them in the midfield. Mainu needs the minutes, and Agate went off in the first half, so you could do that for 45 minutes. Bruno would play tomorrow, no problem. Mount needs a start, and then Rasmus went off in the first half, so I'd give Rasmus half a game and then bring Obi on. And that's my logic, but I'm probably miles off. I'm probably absolutely miles off. What I would say is that the team I'm constructing, and it'd be interesting to read your comments, the team I'm constructing there is very much going to get beat, probably. They're going to be the underdogs against a Wolves side that is in really good form and well rested. So, and obviously, this is audition Cunha. Whether he's coming to Man United or Arsenal or Chelsea or wherever, he's in the audition zone. He's Willian. He's standing in the Hall of Fame. That's Willian. Willian is the guy who was out of contract at Chelsea in COVID and suddenly turned into the best player in the world for the last 2 months of the season. I think Cunha's in that position now where he's had a few weeks off. He's now putting himself in the shop window, potentially for Man United. He ain't going to have a bad game, is he? So I think I'm going to go with a draw. I think there's going to be a big buzz around Old Trafford, and I think hopefully this is the environment where players who didn't play can come in and feel liberated because there's a buzz around the club. So I'm going to go with a draw, maybe 1-1, 2-2. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the complexities of the game, the starting lineup you'd go with. But do you disagree with me? Should we be playing more of the regulars? Should we play Harry Maguire? I mean, I just think that if you play Harry Maguire and he gets injured, then people will go mad. And let's not forget what happened with Xerxes. Played on Thursday, played on Sunday, out for the season. So I have got no sympathy with anybody who is saying, or Amorim, if he picks a key player and they get injured, then we have been warned. So I think, again, you've got to go, I play a part as a United fan. If we lose to Wolves on Sunday, 3 or 4-0, am I going to be the prat who starts going in about the system, it's not good enough, this, that and the other? Or am I going to go, we haven't got the squad anyway, and we certainly haven't got the squad to play extra time on Thursday and then take on a good Wolves side on a Sunday? We're probably going to get beat, but I think the crowd can have a big part, and I think the players that can come in can have a big part, but they need to be fresh. And we need the likes of Mount and Mainu and Amas and whoever else comes in to, start getting used to being a Man United player, certainly. But I go back to the most important thing and this league table, and it is an interesting underlier in relation to this season. We could finish 17th. We could be the worst team in the Premier League that doesn't get relegated. We could be miles off our worst, horrific, disgusting Premier League points total of 58. Something fundamentally has gone wrong at this football club. And I don't think Amorim is responsible. I don't necessarily think some of the players are responsible. But I think as an ownership group, I don't think you get to hide behind a Europa League run. I think you've got to look at that league table and say, Ineos, Sajim, Barada, Ashworth, your strategic review started in January 2024. It's now April 2025, and your first full season after your first full transfer window is this. You know, we're very lucky to have the Europa League because this is horrific. And there needs to be another strategic review as to why this has happened. Why do you think this has happened, by the way? We'll talk about this more in the coming weeks. But for me, this is all on Sir Jim Ratcliffe. This is all on the team that he's put together, the decisions he made from then to now. I just think we've made a catalogue of errors and it needs to be addressed. And I don't think they're going to solve these problems with their current targets they've got in the transfer window, who are more learner drivers. But look, get your comments in below. Smash a like on the video. We're back at 8 o'clock live, and I'm on That's Football for Villa against Newcastle, which I think is going to be a fantastic game. Take care, everyone. Stay safe, and I'll speak to you in a bit.